Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Love. Oh, shit. Okay, now we're back. Hello again, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe Love. Here to your episode 141 of Sports Hobby Topics. I plan to go over today on the podcast, including the NFL Combine, to go over that a bit as far as last week is concerned. UFC 285, John Jones' return, and much more. Go over that from Saturday night, as well as the NBA season. Give our take on that, as well as the Knicks winning 9 straight before today, but nonetheless, we're in the home stretch of the NBA regular season, so give quick thoughts on that and where teams fare in the standings, all that, much more. So, alas, before we get into it, thank you for joining me. I made Joe Love. If you're new to the channel, and if you want to see more or recurring but you're not subscribed, click that subscription box in the corner and find all videos on the homepage and click that bell for all notifications there on the channel. But last, thank you, and let's get started. So, the NFL Combine was last week, and it was a good one. You know, the NFL Combine I always love because it showcases more of all the main prospects. Well, not all, but most of them in one setting, doing a number of different drills, just to showcase their speed, showcase throwing, etc. for quarterbacks. And just a good filling out drill for scouts and for coaches among the NFL to, just scour. Now, yes, they pretty much were doing that throughout these prospects' college careers, but it's a good setting also to interview with players and get a feel, and does this guy have leadership capabilities and qualities, and just a bunch. But nonetheless, it was fun, and talk about some guys that were key contributors, I would say, or surprises. So, first with defense, I gotta say, starting with corners, Joey Porter Jr. and had a pretty good combine, I must say, running a late 4.3, but still solid for the son of former longtime Pittsburgh Steeler Joey Porter. He did a heck of a job, and whoever gets, coming in the draft is pretty much him, I'd say, and Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon. And Gonzalez had a pretty damn good combine as well, also running a 4.3, 8. But, Nonetheless, it's going to be a fun battle to see who's the first DB off the board. It's going to be a hell of a bargain. DJ Turner out of Michigan had the fastest 40 of the combine this season, 4.26. So that's still, that record is still not broken, but still, when you run a 4.2, you're going to get noticed at the combine and you're stuck. I mean, pretty much, no matter your position, pretty much if you run a 4.4 or below or faster, your stock, your draft stock is pretty much just going to go up. Because in the league, pretty much speed kills, and no surprise there. But these showcase guys nonetheless did their job. So go on down. Then we go offense a little bit. So now, not a lot of QBs ran the 40, but nonetheless, or at least from what I saw, but CJ Stroud was the main guy of the day. With Bryce Young out, which I think might have hurt his bid a little bit, just from my perspective, just because, Bryce Young, yes, he was arguably the biggest component in Alabama still being good this year. But, from my perspective, because, obviously the comparison, since they're almost the same size, Kyler Murray, Bryce Young. To me, Kyler Murray is, what separates him and makes him spectacular is play on the field. Is his mobility, his capability, his off-script play. Bryce Young, he can do some of those plays, but, when I see him, he doesn't jump off the page, I feel, as much as Collar does with some of these plays, some of these explosive plays. So he's very remarkable in his plays, but that's just from my feel. But we'll see. But I think many will either agree or disagree that Anthony Richardson was the most, stunning standout of the QBs at the combine, simply because, look, he didn't have jaw-dropping numbers this past season, but over the course he continued and got better. And, Florida, the way he runs the ball, yes, 17 touchdowns, 9 picks, not great, but his mobility and ability to run the ball. And the thing is, he's 6'4", 240 pounds, and he runs a 4.44, or his official time, according to the app, was a 4.43 at the combine. So very Very explosive for a big guy. Not as big as Cam, but he's definitely faster than Cam. Though that was certainly the comp that some people had for him at the combine, and well, you know, whoever gets him is, I think, gonna be impressed. I'd say the least. If they get the system around him, I think that's the ultimate thing. Will Levis, didn't do a lot, but he did throw, definitely show off throwing power. He's right, he has cannon, no surprise. Another interesting domino in this quarterback draft is definitely intriguing. And, when we're in a draft class, when the back-to-back national champion quarterback, Stetson Bennett, is basically like an afterthought, that shows you, what scouts and people think of this quarterback class. But yeah, Stetson, he had a heck of a combine performance as well. Duggan made some nice throws. Clinton made some good throws. Tyron McKee and O'Connell. Very solid performance by the quarterbacks, I must say. Wide receivers, don't get much better than the three. Zay Flowers, how Boise State. He had a heck of a combine performance. Jordan Addison is definitely the one to look out for in this combine as well, or draft class. Got some good ones. In this class, so interesting to see. And then tight end. To me, the biggest standout was Darnell Washington. Darnell Washington is a freak. 6'7", 252. Just his overall performance at the combine. Jeez. Now, credit, we didn't see Dalton Kincaid out of Utah. We did see Michael Mayer, but jeez. You got three hell of tight ends in this draft class to look for that could go off the board as late as day 1, early day 2. So look for those names in a month or so. Yeah. Kudos. Running backs, Bijan Robinson, his name, is definitely the main one to watch. Around 4'4" at the combine. I think maybe a little downing for some, but nonetheless, he's great, and he's, whoever he goes to, he's gonna make a mark on and lasting impact on which team he goes to, that's for sure. UFC 285. Now, look at this. Was a interesting card. Headlined by John Jones' return, but they get some interesting outcomes as well. Bo Nickel. So, going into the main card, we have Bo Nickel versus Jamie Pickett or Prickett, whichever his name, sorry. But, a former Rio Rancho Ram, I mean, that's a hell of a feat. A former Albuquerque kid or Rio Rancho kid out of Mexico, now training with the ATT in Florida, but a guy with much to prove, and 3-0 his UFC debut, opening main card of a big pay-per-view, and it was not without controversy. I mean, if you just saw the finish, you'd be like, oh, damn, this was fun. But if you see what happened prior, then you're like, I don't know. But what I'm talking about is, so now, may have so happened, but it's one thing that definitely has people critiquing. So, Bo had Jamie up against the fence and ended up kneeing him in the nuts. Straightforward in the nuts. Referee did not detail it, did not separate them, did not see it. And then basically, Bo ended up taking Jamie down. He did have issue. He went for a guillotine at first, but then wound up on top. And then all of a sudden submitted Jamie with an arm triangle. So, hell of kudos to Bo and his UFC debut, and I would say, interesting way to open the first round or main card. Now the co-main event. This, I think, was more surprising in a way than the main event. More how it ended, that's to say, which I'll get to in a bit. But Valentina Shevchenko versus Alexa Grasso. Valentina, she's the only flyweight or bantamweight, I should say. Flyweight champion of the UFC until Saturday. She, had a hell of a I remember. Oh yeah. Original champion won the Ultimate Fighter, and then she had to vacate the title, which Valentina won. There we go. But, so, anyway. Get my facts mixed up, but Valentina, okay, so Valentina, she's obviously been on a hell of a run. Hell of a run. You know, she's been going through challengers left and right. She did have some big adversity in her last fight, which sometimes she lost in a decision, but the judges went her way. Nonetheless, Valentina riding in this fight on a good win streak against Grosso, who, you know, hasn't really been built up as a number one contender, considering, well, this division, I mean, hasn't had a lot of names and hasn't been built up really big, but nonetheless, so Grosso came in this fight a big underdog, and for a while, it looked like she might be overwhelmed. Because, you know, for the first couple of rounds, Valentina was able to take her down and, you know, basically control the clock at her pace, control the fight. You know, sound like football talk right now, but nonetheless, she's controlling the fight, but Alexa would have her moments on the feet. She ended up cutting Valentina over her nose, and, you know, clearly Alexa was finding a bit of a rhythm. And then in round 4, instead of being the one taken down, Alexa went for the gusto and took initiative and ended up taking Valentina down, and then she landed a crossface for a rear naked choke. And Valentina tapped out. Just a hell of a finish that I'm sure not a lot saw coming. But kudos to Alexa Grosso. You know, Mexico has another UFC champion. So, kudos there. One sec. Sorry, I need to clear myself a bit. But yeah, better. Okay, but yeah, congrats to Alexa Grosso. And like I said, Mexico, along with Brandon Moreno, 2 UFC champions from Mexico. So, cool there. Valentina, you know, it's no surprise she should get a rematch. I mean, you know, she held the title for a good while, so no surprise if they make a rematch there. It's a fight to make. But yeah. And then the big one. the big bill, or the big bill, pretty much. No, not talking about AEW, but yeah, it's the main event. Jon Jones' return for Cyril Gane for the vacant UFC Heavyweight Championship. Obviously, I've spoken a decent chunk about this fight, the ramifications with Francis, with Stipe. Nonetheless, fight came, and I will say, I don't think people are surprised that Jon Jones won. The surprise is how he won, I think, ultimately. Because, look, the fact is, all throughout his career, we've seen Jon Jones fight as a light heavyweight. He's a big guy, but, his division has been light heavyweight, 205, and he's ripped at 205, but nonetheless, 3-year layoff, jumping up a weight class, but weighing at 248, how was he? I mean, the questions were there, the layoff, him fighting Gane, definitely the biggest guy he's faced, in the UFC. And he took control, I mean, Gane, the most effective strike he landed was a nut shot. That was the most effective hit he got out of the fight. A nut shot. He went for a stiff right hand, and then Jon Jones just got a hold of him, took him down. Gane tried to get back up. Jones took him down again. It wasn't a deep choke, but he clinched on a guillotine choke, and Gane was pretty much stuck, and he had tap. I mean, people probably say, well, the choke wasn't on all the way. And that was true. But, look, when you have a guy as big as Jones and the position Gane was in, basically was stuck, and I'm sure he was just surprised about Jon Jones' strength, pretty much. 205 guy coming up to heavyweight in his first fight at heavyweight in 3 years, and that's what happened. I mean, huge shoes. So, Jones said, he wants Stipe next, and it seems like International Fight Week seems to be the right day. July. I mean, certainly be a great fight. only thing is, going in this fight, assuming it does take place, Jones versus Stipe, he saw that while his strength is definitely there when it comes to heavyweight and his wrestling. Now, knockout power, because I'm sure some had questions going into it, that, how would his power manifest to heavyweight, and his wrestling and his strength is there, but against Stipe, who has finished guys on the feet, with his power, is going to be a unique task versus John Jones. I think that's just it. As far as game, look, I'm not afraid to admit I picked him in this fight because just the questions. I mean, John Jones, it was confusing to me, to say the least. But he got it done. Congrats, Jones, and I'm not surprised he won. Just surprised how he did, and how quickly it happened. But again, he lost to Francis, came back a better fighter. Now he lost to Jones, and hopefully he gets better. I would not be shocked if he fights the winner of Curtis Blades and Sergey Pavlovich. I mean, in the winter in April, but we'll see. But again, I bet we'll take this and come out a better fighter because of it. Now we gotta get into it. We are in the home stretch, pretty much, of the NBA season. Less than 20 games to go, and yikes, boy oh boy, we are getting down to it. So, first and foremost, gotta talk about the New York Knicks because they deserve some love. I've been giving the Sacramento Kings some love last couple times, but gotta give credit to the Knicks prior to today, because I filmed this on Wednesday. They won 9 straight games, culminating with a big win in double overtime versus the Boston Celtics in Boston. I mean, without Jalen Brunson, arguably the best player. But, I mean, what they're doing this season, Jalen Brunson, quickly, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, they got some damn good studs on that team. And, they're going to go to the playoffs with almost I guess you could say, why not us mentality. Nothing to lose mentality, because I'm sure nobody really expected them. I mean, I had a feeling they were going to make the playoffs, but, I'm not sure many picked them to make the playoffs, but last they're going to be here, and I think they can win a playoff series or two if they are lucky. I don't think they can go all the way, but the New York Knicks are fierce, and they're a team to look out for, and it's going to be intriguing. Now, at the Lakers are hovering. They are like the Lloyd Christmas of the NBA teams. Because they have a chance. They have a chance to make the playoffs. I'm sure not a lot expected, but Anthony Davis is having some very good performances as of late. Now, of course, he's a liability because of his health, but, with LeBron out for a undisclosed amount of time, with them keeping the ship rolling, if he can come back, if LeBron can come back, I mean, it's gonna be interesting. Whether it's, I don't think they can beat Denver, but, if they get Memphis or they get Sacramento in the first round, then they can definitely upset some polls. I mean, they can definitely charge an upset. Especially if John Morant, who knows how long he's going to be out. I think, the Grizzlies need John Morant back if they're going to go anywhere in the playoffs. Anywhere. So, we'll see. But, as of today, narrow down the standings, current playoff picture of the NBA Eastern Conference and the West. Give my thoughts on both. So, it stands right now, 1 through 6. Current Milwaukee, Boston, who's been trailing as of late, losing 4 out of 5. They're in a bit of trouble. Philly, who's James Harden deserves more respect. That's all I said. Cavs at 4, Knicks at 5. Brooklyn Nets are hanging on at 6. Respectable. It's good to see that the Nets are still there. So, cool. They're still fighting. Mikal Bridges is having some damn good 30-point performances. So, Shout out to him. 7, Miami Heat. 8 seed, Atlanta Hawks. 9, Toronto, and 10, Washington. Now, right off the bat, looking at that 4, I'd have to say Miami and Toronto would be my picks to get last picks to get into the playoffs, but we'll see. I mean, look, I think the only team out of that picture that can make things interesting is Chicago, the Bulls, but they gotta turn it around quickly, and I don't know. I mean, I would like them to be higher seed, but they're not. I mean, it just sucks that Lonzo. I mean, they still have DeMar DeRozan, they still have Zach LaVine and Vucevic, but just surprising me. And then we have a little bit of shakeup in the West. So Denver seems, it seems to be a foregone conclusion that they're going to be the 1 seed in the West. Unless they have a big collapse, then they're pretty much going to be the 1 seed. And with the presumably 3-time MVP, Nikola Jokic, we'll see. But number 1, Denver. 2, Sacramento, who now have tied the Grizzlies and due to tiebreaker now take the 2 seed in the West. So intriguing there. 3, Memphis. 4, Phoenix. 5, Dallas. 6, Golden State. 7, Minnesota. 8, the Clippers. 9, the Lakers. And 10, the Pelicans. So, I honestly don't know what I would like more for a first round series, honestly. The Suns versus Dallas. Devin Booker versus Luka again for possibly 7 games. That would be great. Or you have KD versus Golden State. That's stuff to think about. But I don't know. They got 7 through 10. It's so close between, when it comes to the 2 seed through to the 8 seed, it's 4 games separation. So it's anybody's game, pretty much, between the 2 and the 8. So, right now the T-Wolves and the Clippers are currently in the play-in, but they could very easily be, either 6 or 5, depending on how it goes. But, currently I'd say Minnesota and the Lakers to be the final 2 seeds in the West out of the play-in, we'll see. You know, as for the teams on the outside, you know, I love Shy. He's a very good, very underrated player for OKC. I love Damian Lillard. He's great. But Utah is a interesting cat. They have been interesting all year. The way they've been behind Lauri Markkanen, Jordan Clarkson, those studs have been, you know, that team is, you know, not to be taken kindly. And, you know, they're a team to watch. They're a team to watch, Utah. So, we'll see. But, yeah, the way it's shaping out, the home stretch for the NBA is intriguing to watch. Intriguing to watch for the next number of games. It's getting crunch time. So, we'll see. But, nonetheless, that's all I have for the podcast today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, you guys know to click that like button there at the bottom of the screen. Leave a like and a thumbs up. Help out the video, help out the channel. And of course, the subscribe button there as well. But last, thank you all. Be safe. Next week, we'll see. Maybe I'll have my first mock draft for next month, or we'll see for the draft. Baseball season is getting close at the end of the month. Opening day, so interesting for that part, but we'll see. Nonetheless, thank you all. See you guys next week. Adios. Peace.